Okay, we're now in a little booklet called The Underside of Life. As a child, I preferred sleeping under the bed. As a student, I was at the bottom of the class. In a land of 6-footers, I barely cleared 5. I went as far south as I could go, to the southern tip of Argentinio. I've been down so long it looks like up to me. I've been in prison so long I must be dreaming I am free. I've been behind so long I'm beginning to think I'm ahead. I've lived so long on the underside of life, I wish I was dead. Trash-littered alleys allured me. Prison cells never cured me. I was too curious about drugs and kinky sex. The female form vexed me, hexed me, held me like a spell, filling me with thoughts that caused me to fear God and dread hell. The underside of life, ghastly, lurid, squalid, screaming, fraught with cynicism and danger, where death may be the next smiling stranger, seemed to be my fate. Hard times was my best man, and poverty my perpetual mate. The underside of life was not my conscious choosing. I longed to be a winner, but I was always losing. I longed to be a star, not a black hole in space. I never chose to be the tail, but the smile on the tiger's face. But the underside of life, with all its pains and dreads, seems to be the inevitable groove for little children who like to sleep under their beds. This next one is called America, North America, and it's dedicated to Ray Jorgensen, and he wrote lines 3 through 6. America, oh, North America, I am your son, you've made me a man. You are my native land, my country, my people. Oh, where have you gone? Have the roses all died on the thorns? When I was a child, your rivers were blue, your churches were full, your airwaves were pure, and your schools were all true. Now your jails are all full, insane asylums too. There's drugs in your schools, every home's broken too, the bills are all due. When I was a child, a man was a man. Now half say they're gay, and we're plagued with this AIDS, and who's gonna stand? Your presidents lie, your senators sin. They say there's a race to put missiles in space. It's a race we can win. But when they're all in their place, spinning grimly through space, it looks like the end. Will this be the end of the whole human race? 30 days in the can. I told the judge I was a writer, as if being a writer would excuse all my crimes. Oh, in that case, go free, young man. Perhaps my grandchildren will read your works one day in lit class. In that case, the law doesn't apply. Be free to plunder, steal, defile, experiment, do drugs, expand your mind and your prose. Taste life to the fullest. No holds barred. No laws need apply to you. Are you published? No, not yet. In that case, 30 days in the can and $50 fine. Next case. Church House Blues, dedicated to the pastors of the rich churches on Franklin Road in Nashville, Tennessee. I was hungry, and you pledged millions of dollars to build yourselves a new building. I was thirsty, and you bought the most luxurious organ you could find. I was naked, and you put in new carpeting. I was homeless, but your doors were usually locked. I was sick, and your youth group had a Mickey Mouse banquet. I was in prison, and you visited me through your radio show. The voice was warm, but far away and untouchable. I was lonely, and you sent missionaries overseas. I was broken-hearted and couldn't help blaming someone. Can you guess who? The grain of America. I like gray days in North American cities. They highlight the drab gray buildings and remind me of my roots, loneliness, low wages, alienation, canyons of heartless concrete, cocky capitalists in gray business suits. Once I was the only beggar, but now the streets are full of them, skeletons walking with long gray hair, misguided revolutionaries with long gray beards, Confederate ghosts in fading gray uniforms. The gray helps me remember who I am and why I don't belong. The gray inspires me to open my mouth in a fluorescent cry and split the landscape with bright, colorful words, as bright as Peruvian rugs or Mexican mosaics. Words to comfort lost gray travelers trying to read ancient maps scribbled by bright-eyed, bright-tongued old Jew prophets from the gray and distant past. no soul for art. Why should I eat? I've been shiftless, lazy, restless, riff-raff, a drifter, cursed like Cain to wander the earth. Who owes me a home? I never cleaned one when I lived in one. Why should I be invited to live with a family? I don't do dishes. I watch all my favorite programs. I argue a lot, eat, sleep, watch TV, that's me. Take out the garbage? Forget it, I'm a poet. Can't soil my creative pinkies. Paint the bedroom? Hey, I'm a Picasso. I'm too good for that stuff. Us creative types was made to reign, not slave. What do you mean I can't scribble my poems on your living room wall? Ain't you got no soul for art? As soon as I am free. I sit on the mountain and gaze at the city below, sparkling like a jeweled octopus. It dazzles me like the Milky Way. I do not want to live there, and yet I want to influence it. I need people, and yet they frighten me. I want brothers and sisters, and yet I've been hurt so many times before. The city is crawling with sin. Shall I go down like Jonah to Nineveh, crying, "Repent"? Or should I try to be elected mayor? I'd rather be a hermit, and yet something calls me to love. My poverty and poetry compel me to descend and do something, and yet I seem to be on side paths, going down where I should be going up, and going up when I would go down. I'm ready to sing songs of freedom as soon as I am free. This one's called He Was Hip. It's about Jesus. Oh, he was hip all right to the hypocrites. With his carpenter eyes and carpenter hands, he saw strange spirits moving through the land. He said, "Love's not yours, you know it's divine. Spread it around while you still have time." This one's called Hearts of Stone. Well, it's not enough to throw away the nuclear bombs. We've got to throw away all of the bombs. And it's not enough to throw away all of the bombs as long as we have hearts of stone. And it's not enough to throw away all of the bombs. We've got to throw away all of the guns. And it's not enough to throw away all of the guns as long as we have hearts of stone. And it's not enough to throw away all of the guns. We've got to throw away all of the knives. And it's not enough to throw away all of the knives. We've got to throw away all of the fists. And it's not enough to throw away all of the fists. We've got to pull out every tooth. And it's not enough to pull out every tooth as long as we have hearts of stone. Hearts of stone. Only Jesus can change those cold hearts of stone. This is called Why Shouldn't You? Sick nation, why shouldn't you be cursed? Why shouldn't your wombs cast forth dead babies? Why shouldn't your breasts go dry and your nipples crack? Why shouldn't murderers and rapists roam your streets? Why shouldn't the dead-eyed homeless clog your streets and drugs overwhelm you? You were born in theft. You stole the lands from the Indians and Mexicans. You brought voodoo slaves in stinking chains from Africa. Your CIA, FBI, IRS, CFR have taught terrorism to the world. You rained your bombs on the children of Cuba, Guatemala, Nicaragua, Panama, Mexico, Germany, Japan, the Philippines, Korea, Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, Libya, Lebanon, Iraq. Surely you must reap what you have sown. Why shouldn't you? The last one from this collection is called The Verdict Is In. I can no longer play the prophet. I'm hanging up my sackcloth robe. I'm a phony. It's time I admit it. I'm about as holy as a hole in a donut. I enjoyed being called Reverend, but lately that title stinks. I've got to die sooner or later, and I'm worried about what the good Lord thinks. I enjoyed standing on the street corners, burning each passing sinner's ear, but lately I've been imagining those flames down below, burning my own holier-than-thou, dear rear. It's time I got down off my high horse and slipped to my knees on the sod and quit trying to impress my neighbors that I'm a great man of God. The verdict is in, so I'm stepping down. I'll let those who are more foolish wear the prophet's gown and crown. Wear the prophet's